Hello again, Bible lovers. I've got Allan reader comparison video to make. I've already done this video with the top and bottom Allans, and I figured I'd just make another one since I got this read, the Superman Bible. It's kind of an in-between between the first edition and the latest editions of the reader. So I just want to kind of do a really quick comparison for you guys, so you'll know the differences between the first edition, kind of the in-between editions, and the most recent editions of the Allan NASB reader. So first off, the first edition reader is a 32 GSM paper, and it has a really nice goatskin cover. They're all printed and bound by Youngblood. They all use the same similar type goatskin, so they're going to have the similar feel to the cover. The same tooled ribs and tooling around the perimeter. Now you can see that they increased the font size on the latest editions of the imprinting for the Allan New American Standard Bible and Holy Bible. See how these two are similar, and the newest edition has a larger stamping. I like the newest edition. That's going to be a pretty common theme through this video. Anyway, so as we turn this, you can see the silver line's obviously silver gilded, but it's not a full yap, where these two above are full yap. At least they're full on the broadside. But this block is just bigger, and it doesn't quite meet like these do. These meet, and this one's got a really stiff liner, but it meets as well. So that's another comparison. They all three have 3 Beresford ribbons of varying color depending on their color of their cover. And so the top one is the first edition Allan NASB reader. And it has, like I said, the 32 GSM paper, but it has a thicker liner. And this liner is like really stiff. It makes it pretty stiff. It has the angled cut tabs. You can see it's at an angle, not squared. And it's not really, it doesn't have the best lines right here, okay? The ghosting is not terrible, but it's there. Now the additions from Foundation are on 28 or 30 GSM paper, depending on the year, unless you get an 07 or an 03, and those are on 39 GSM paper from Foundation. But these are going to have some ghosting, not as bad as the newest versions from Foundation, but still it's not as good as the original or the latest edition of the reader. So that's the first edition. They all have lined paper in the back and all the same trimmings and whatnot. So that's the first edition, and on the back of it, the back cover, it says Allan First Edition imprinted. Okay, so the next one I want to show you is kind of an in-between. I'm not exactly sure which edition this is, but it's between the first edition and the latest edition, because this has got a thinner block. It's a 32 GSM paper, just like the original first edition. The latest edition is a 36 GSM paper, and you can see the thickness difference there. It's a good bit thinner than the newest edition. So I know this is an in-between edition, second or third. I'm not really sure which edition it is. It doesn't say. Now there are some features that are similar with the first edition, so that's what makes me think it's probably a second edition, mainly because the corners are hammered, not pleated, and they would probably call that pleated, but they're hammered in a similar fashion as the original first edition readers from Youngblood. So this Bible is has a thinner liner. It's much more flexible than the first edition with the stiff liner. So they learned from probably some complaints with it being so stiff. You can't really take advantage of this full yap because the liner is so stiff it keeps it rigid. Where this one, it molds over to the block, and that's the point of having a full yap, is so it protects the block. So having the thinner liner, you can actually get the benefit from having a full yap, because when you grab it and you carry it around, sling it down. I mean, not that you should do any of those things, but it's just real world. That's how you use your Bible. It's going to go with you where you go, and if if you're jumping in the car, it's going to jump in with you. So having that full yap where it's actually usable from you having the thinner liner, that was a benefit. That was definitely a benefit, an improvement that they made from the first edition. This, like I said, this also has the 32 GSM paper, and the ghosting's not terrible, but it's definitely not great. So of all the things that you would want to improve about this Bible, if you were taking a list of things you wanted to improve and you sent it to Allan, you would definitely want pleated corners, and you would want thicker paper for better readability. So those two things were definitely communicated well to Allan for the latest edition. Now, this is a thicker block because it's a 36 GSM paper. They listened to their customers, and they used a thicker, better paper. So your readability is actually much better in this edition than it was in the previous editions of the reader. And you also have these beautifully pleated corners instead of those hammered corners. So it's more like a long primer, or like a Allan that you are typically going to see. That's what you're used to seeing from Allan, and why should the NASB reader be any different? So it's beautifully gilded, beautiful art gilding. The lines are excellent. I actually love that they increased the font size on the spine. I think it looks better, especially with the silver imprinting. It just stands out better. This spine's bigger. Because it's a thicker Bible. It really needed to increase in size as compared to the other editions. It's just really small printing. It just didn't look. I mean, and this fits because this spine is smaller than the newer edition. But anyway, those are some of the great improvements that they made. The latest edition of the Allan reader is tops. I mean, it's very, very comparable to the really famous 2003 NASB large print ultra thin from Foundation, the 2007 editions with the French milled paper. This paper is just great, and the cover at this point from Youngblood, this cover is exceptional as well. The only hitch is that it's not going to be a Highland goat skin. This is going to be a goat skin used by Youngblood. Okay, so all these goat skins are very similar, but if you got a ESV NCR from Allan, it would be a Highland goat skin, which that's probably the next improvement to the reader. Would be to make these with Highland goat skin. Okay, so it's just the goat skin that Youngblood uses. So and it's still really nice goat skin. It's just not quite to the level of Highland goat skin. So if I had to pick one improvement, it would be to go with Highland goat skin on the next version of the readers. But the latest edition is exceptional. It's just great. So anyway, those are the editions progressing through improvements Allan's made first, middle, and then the latest edition. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys if you're in the market for an Allan reader, NASB reader, or if you're just a fan of Allan Bibles. It's just really a great progression. You can see that they've learned from and making improvements to to newer editions. Just really great to see. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, just please leave them in the comment section. And God bless.